Hey guys, welcome to Testing Academy. My name is Pramod, and in this video, we are going to cover Selenium Framework, custom framework. We are going to create our custom framework from scratch, and let me show you like how this framework looks like rather than talk about it. So this is about me actually. So yeah, so we'll have so basically this is the end product. Right now I'm showing you. We have it as base classes. We have utilities, right? We have pages. We have base pages. We have couple of logging mechanisms, right? And this is the report will look like for this one. So we have added a one logging page with the screenshot attached, and after that we are basically verifying that okay, if we are successfully logged in or not. So this is that like two test cases that we are going to automate. So we're going to use one website which is www.com, right? So I think you will learn a lot in this video, and I'm going to share you the five-step process to create any kind of a framework, right? So I hope you are excited. So let's get started and build this own custom framework from scratch with the TestNG, Maven, alert report, and a couple of more utilities that you can use to create your own framework, right? So let's get started. All right, guys. So let's do one thing. Let's create a new project. So first of all, I have to give you some point of view, right? So this is the five-step process that we need to discuss first, right? So and if you want to create any kind of a framework, right, from scratch, right, you need to know these five important process. These are the five-step process that we have invented where uh, by using this you can basically create your own custom framework, right? So the first one is basically talks about the build management. So build management talks about which of the build management or dependency manager that you are going to use. So if so generally when we are building it for the Selenium, right, we have two choices. Like you can go with Maven or you can go with the Gradle, right? So let's get started. So guys, this is the first part. So we'll have some theory first where we will basically learn what is a five-step process, and probably in the end we will start creating practically our framework, right? So guys, this is also very important for your interview question, so pay attention to this. I'll share you so much value. These are little long, but trust me, you will learn a lot in this video. So I would highly recommend that you watch till the end and download the source code and play around with it, right? So where we'll basically discuss about the lots of different stuff related to we'll basically discuss this five-step process and create our own framework in this end, right? So I have shown you already the end product, right? So let's build it from scratch. Okay, so I hope you're excited. So let's do this, right? So right, so first of all, the step one is basically we have to finalize the build management, right? So what is build management in this case? So build management is nothing but we are basically telling, okay, so what kind of dependency manager, what kind of building tools? So generally, all the libraries. So we cannot create a simple Java project and start adding dependency manually, right? So we require a tool which will uh, help us to basically automatically add the dependency, right? Kind of a build life cycle, which basically help us which can provide us a build life cycle. So that's where we basically try to use two of these. Like we generally prefer Maven or Gradle, right? So there are two uh, build management tool, I would say dependency management tool, right? So they two are little different and how they are important. So let's learn more about them before proceeding or creating our own framework, right? So let me hide this one. Yeah. So first of all, let's discuss about the Maven, right? So I hope you have learned. I hope you already know about it. If you haven't, so let's basically learn about it, right? So Maven, what does Maven actually mean? Maven is basically generally we call it dependency manager, right? But actually Maven it's a complete build lifecycle framework, which basically means that from starting point where you are adding your code to the deployment, right? So you can use Maven for that. You can add documentation, reporting, dependencies, like all the things which are required in your project, right? You can add it by using Maven, right? So generally the system requirement for Maven is that generally we prefer Maven 3.3 plus version, and make sure you have JDK installed in that case, right? So how you can install JDK, let me show you in a bit, right? So it's very simple. You can do JDK install, right? I'll make sure you install 1.8 or something like this. It's totally upon you, but we prefer 1.8. So you'll land up on this page, and you can download according to the like, so right now I'm in Mac, so you can download this one, right? If you're on Windows, you can download according to this. I hope that makes sense, right? Yeah. Okay. So to download the Maven, what you can do is that you can basically do like this. So I have already given you these steps, right? Uh, if you can go basically Maven download, right? And like there are three different instructions. So if you're on Windows, for example, if you're on Mac, what you can do directly is that, let me show you how you can do it. So once again, yes, right, right. So if you're on Mac, what you can directly is that you can directly, so let me make it to the home directory, right? So you can use brew, right? Homebrew is already installed on Mac, so you can use brew installed even in that case, right? So it will install the Maven for you on the Mac version, right? But if suppose if you are on Windows, you have to download the zip file, right? So you can download the zip file and add it to your path variable. So you can go to my computer, right click on its properties, set the environmental variables, and set the bin directory to this path. And I'm going to show you like how you can do it by using mindmap also, right? So we are using Maven 3.3 version. We are using JDK 1.8 version. So make sure you have installed the Java development kit as well as the Maven, right? To basically use this 5-step process and create your own framework, right? So how to add these Maven to the path? So what do you mean by this is basically uh, I can run Maven from any directory, right? If I do it like, if I just type mvn, or if I type mvn my hyphen hyphen help, right? So I'm getting certain option, right? So I can be in any kind of a directory. So that's what exactly it means. So you can add the Maven to the directory. Like for example, on Windows, you can use this command. For example, export path, right? Like this. So this is the path of yours. And in the Mac and Linux also, you can add it to path also, right? And Mac generally we have brew install Maven, right? And in Linux, you can basically download the zip file, unzip it, and use the export command again, right? So that will again add to your path. So how you can verify? You can verify by using this. If it is says mvn is not a command like this, for example, is not a command like this, it basically means it doesn't install, right? But if it is telling you with the help that it's basically giving you this option, it means mvn installed and is added to your path. Okay, so that's what we are doing. So Maven is nothing but a build lifecycle management, or you can say framework, right? That we are using. So for this custom framework that we are building, we are using Maven to basically run our test cases, right? And basically to add our dependency, whatever the dependency that we want to add to the project. For example, the dependency that we are going to add are error report, testng, and logback or log4j, right? These are a couple of dependency that we are going to add, that I have shown you in the uh, in this framework, right? So let me show you the pom.xml. So this is where actually we discuss. So we have log4j dependency, error report, testng, and Selenium Java, right? So that's what we wanted to add using Maven. So that will be downloaded automatically. Okay. Okay. So I think I have clicked wrong button. Let me close it again. Right. So what is actually Maven build lifecycle? So Maven basically have a certain steps that you can perform, right? For example, you can validate your project that you have created. So you can create a new project with the Maven, and that project will have a certain folder structure according to it. And the how you can run this project, you can basically have a life cycle. For example, you can validate, compile it, test it out, package it, verifying it, install it, and after you can also deploy it. So basically in the end, when you have a deployment step, your project will be converted into certain jars, and jars that you can directly run, right, by using java minus jar command, right? So that's what you can do. But in this project we are not doing this. We are just mostly focusing on the test part of it, right? So where we'll basically create our test cases, and by using ambient test command we'll basically running our test cases. That's all in a simple way, right? So creating a Maven project, it's very simple. Right now I'm using Eclipse, so we can use a quick start or you can use a command line tool, right? So both are similar, and I'm going to show you how. What is it? So basically archetype is basically a starter template for creating any kind of a basic project, right? Version, basically we are mentioning that okay, this is a version that we want to use. For example, you can use 1 2 3, whatever the project. Group ID is mostly the company name reverse, and artifact ID is just a unique ID of your artifact, right? So how you can do it, let me show you. So let me do one thing. Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm just right. So what you can do here is that, for example, right, suppose when you launch, when you install IntelliJ, right? So first of all, let me show you also how you can install IntelliJ, right? So in IntelliJ download, you can just Google it out like IntelliJ download, and download the community edition. Like don't download the professional. You can download the free of cost community edition. So when you have downloaded it, you will see like this, right? So what you can do is that you can just click on new project, and yeah, you will see something like this, right? So here you can select your Java version. So you can select 1.8, you can select 11 version. So you, depending upon it, so for example, we can select by default, let's make it 11. So I have three versions of Java installed, right? So I can choose like 1.8 also if I want to, right? Let's make it default. And we want to create from archetype. So what is this archetype actually? These are kind of a, you can say, all the templates are already created. For example, if you want to create a Java Scala app, this is actually a folder structure as well as certain kind of a configuration which are automatically added here, right? For example, if you want to create any kind of a JE enterprise, any kind of enterprise app, Spring Boot app, right? So any kind of a JPA related app, simple hello words, right? So these kind of stuff. So what we will, so we are interested in only one type of archetype, which is called as quick start. Okay. So what does this quick start do? Let me show you how it is, how it look like. So first of all, let's do one thing. Let's click on next. And here you can name your product. For example, right now we are using, so let's make it, uh, let's call it custom Selenium framework, right? And let's do one thing. Let's add POM also, because we want to use it as a POM, right? And here you can add your domain. For example, right now my website is scrolltest.com, so I just added com.scrolltest.com here, right? And we have custom Selenium framework POM added. And let's click on next, and let's click on finish, and let's make it new window, right? So if you see, the Maven will start doing something, right? If you see, it's basically doing a journal thing. It basically, yeah, right now you will not able to see right now anything related to it. For example, this is the folder which is already created by IntelliJ, and now if you see, right now it has run something commands. So like it has basically built this archetype quick start, and now we have two options which are main and the test, right? And this is your reverse domain that we have added. So first thing first is that just delete these things. We don't want these things, right? And what we have is that we have a test folder and we have a main folder. So so in a nutshell, I would say that in a nutshell, what you can do is that all the test cases that you have seen will be here, and all the page object utilities or any kind of a logging things or resources that you can add it to a main directory, right? And your test cases should be in the test directory. I'm going to show you like how you can have what kind of directories generally we follow, right? So this is how you can create. You have created your own framework first, right? And you can also create the same by using command line. So let me show you how you can do it. For example, let's do one thing. Let's go to a particular directory, right? And let's do a course directory, right? And here you can just run this command, right? Which is basically All right, and I think we have messed something. Yeah, we need to delete these last things. Actually, I have copy pasted with the mind map. That's why. So here, yes, till now. So what we are doing is that we basically telling, okay, create this. This is the group ID, and this will be our project name, which is my app, right? And if you see, we have successfully created. Let me check my app, right? And here it is, right? Similar thing, we have source folder and we have main and test folders again, right? So that's how you can create also, but we are not using it, so that's why. So let's do one thing, right? This is our custom framework right now, and yeah, give me 1 second. Right, absolutely fine, right? So now let's do so let's learn more about the folder structure of this Maven project, which is a quick start. So we have a pom.xml, right? So pom.xml is nothing but the heart of, I can say it's the heart of a project, right? So pom.xml is nothing but uh, a configuration file where basically basically tell that, okay, what kind of dependency that we want. Like you can add your Maven profiles also, you can add a Maven dependencies also here. So we'll mostly all the all the configuration related things we'll basically add to pom.xml in the Maven project. So we have a source directory, we have main and test. So in the main, generally what we have is that we will have our page object models, which is poms, right? You will have a utils here. So you can have your pages here. We call it pages, right? You can have your utils here, right? And you can have your resources or something like this, right? So you can have resources here. In the test, mostly you will have only test case test here. So whatever the test that you're doing, for example, right now we are doing a logging test and verifying the dashboard, right? So you can add it here, and the resource folder if it is required. That's what we are doing. So now you can add a reporting mechanism. So Maven by default generally add any kind of reporting. So you can add a Surefire report by using the Maven Surefire plugin, right? And that's what you can do. For example, let's do one thing. So right now we have this project, right? So if you see here, the first thing we need to open is the pom.xml, right? Let's close everything and let's open the pom.xml, right? So pom.xml, if you see, it's a XML format key value pair where it's basically telling that, okay, this is the group ID, right? Which is nothing but a reverse domain. This is the artifact ID, which basically means our name of the project. This is the version, right? And this is the URL if you want to use it. For example, right now we can make it like scrolllife.com, right? Let we don't have a www in that case, right? So this is actually the properties that we are telling, okay, you have to use 1.7 Maven compilers, right? And this is the one dependency that we have added, and this is actually the build configuration. If you see, right? So we have clean project resource. This is automatically added. So even the Maven Surefire plugins and all, they have already added. So we don't need to add. Right. So this is the so by default, Maven will add a JUnit dependency. We don't want JUnit because we are using TestNG in that case, right? So TestNG has more power than the JUnit. It's basically allows you to add annotations and allow parallelism and couple of more things, right? So we can learn more about it when we are learning it, right? Awesome. So similarly, we have a Gradle also. So let me do one thing. Let me explain Gradle also. Meanwhile, right? Fold it. Okay. Awesome. Okay. I think this is little weird. Let's do one thing. Yeah. Let me move it to here so that you can understand. Awesome, awesome. So again, if we talk about the Gradle also, right? Gradle is again the similar. It's a very similar to the Maven, right? But it's basically an open source build management system, right? And it basically allows you to cache the dependency locally, which is again a great feature. Maven, if you have seen, most of the time it basically fetch all the dependency that you have seen from the repository, right? Maven repository. But what it can do is that, for example, if you are using the same dependency in multiple projects, it can locally cache those repository and basically allow you to have a faster execution in that case. right? And it basically download them in parallel also. So if you have seen Maven, it basically downloads serially most of the time, right? So it can basically parallelly download all the dependencies. So that's why again it's an I would say a little fast in that case. So you can install Gradle in Mac. It's again very straightforward. You just need to brew install Gradle. It will install it. On Windows, you can use Gradle.install, right? In Linux, again, you can use apt-get, right? And to verify if your Gradle is working, what you can do is here is that you can just check the Gradle version command. So if right now I'm running a Gradle 6.7, if you see, right? So let me run it again, right? And let's do one thing, right? And let's create a directory for demo purpose, like let's demo. And I'm going to show you how you can create the project by using Maven Gradle also, right? So how you can create a Gradle project? So if you do Gradle init, right, it will automatically start it, and it will ask you a couple of questions, right? What kind of thing that you want? For example, what kind of application you want? So we want it to be an application. So we'll just select two. And which kind of language you are using? We are using Java, so we'll select three. Split the functionality. We don't want to split it anywhere, right? Any DSL that you would suggest, we just generally go with the Groover by default. Any kind of test framework that you want to use, so we'll use TestNG in that case, right? So by default, if you see, let me clear it out. And any name that you want to give, let's give name as scroll test Gradle, right? And let's make it by default. If you see, it basically will create the same thing like in the app directory, right? You will see the source directory here, right? Main and test. So it's basically have created a very similar to the quick start project that we have created by using Maven, right? Similar to the way. But now here in the Gradle, let me show you. Let's do one thing. Let's open this by using Visual Studio, right? So here it is, right? So if you see, we have a settings.gradle. So again, very similar. Uh, we have an app, we have build.gradle, right? So build.gradle is very much kind of a similar to the pom.xml that you are seeing on the pom.xml that you are seeing, right? Where it is, right? The pom.xml that you are seeing, right? So it's very similar to that one, right? We are basically mentioning it's an application. We are using the disk dependency, right? And this is the an app, use testng true, right? And in the source, you will have the same thing like Java. You have .java as well as the two directories, right? So by default, they have added one test case for you, right? So you can use it here, and you can use gradle.build to basically build it, run it, and whenever you want, right? So for this sake of project, we are not using Gradle, so that I just wanted to create how you can create it. But let me show you very interesting thing that I wanted to discuss, right? So Gradle versus Maven, right? If we talk about the Gradle versus Maven, Gradle basically is being used by Google for Android, right? So if you've seen, lots of people are used. It's like if you see, Android market is very big, and people who have created the Android apps, they have eventually have used Gradle by default. They haven't used Maven in that case. Why? Because Gradle is more customizable, right? Because it's more flexible, can be customizable. If you see the performance, right? Let me zoom it a little bit. If you see, Maven takes nearly around, if you perform any kind of a clean with the test cases, Maven basically takes 26 seconds, whereas Gradle will take only 14 seconds in this case. If you are only cleaning it, sometimes a Gradle only take less than 1 second, right? And if you are only compiling a single change, it will take very less time. So that's why Gradle, if we talk about performance wise, it's uh, very, I would say, fast as compared to the Maven. And user experience wise, I would say Gradle provides a CLI, which again a very straightforward. Just select the appropriate action. Debugging and other optimization things, Gradle is again better than most of the time for the Maven. But for dependency management, you can also customize your dependency. You can add rules, what you want to download, what you don't want to download. And furthermore, you can go to this link, which is Gradle.org Maven versus Gradle, and you can check it out, right? I would suggest that, I mean, according to my personal view, Gradle is more powerful. But since we are habitual of using Maven, so that's why we always prefer to use Maven in that case. So that's what about the first step, which is the build management. I hope you have learned something new in this video, right? And it's already, yeah. So second thing that we need to discuss about is the, let me make it like this. Yeah. So let's make it like this. So these are little different.